We're just getting some early morning scenics. Toronto skyline on this beautiful morning. We got some birds going here. Hey, and welcome back to the shipping container. It's been a while since I've done a video in here, but let's just get right into it. This is a question that I get asked pretty frequently, and maybe you do too. How much do you charge for your video work? So here it is. My half-day rate starts at $750, and depending on the requirements of the job, my full-day rate ranges from $1,250 to $2,500 in the Toronto freelance market. I'm sure some people charge more or less, but that's where I found myself to sit comfortably working around 8 to 10 days a month. But it's important to know where to start when you're thinking about your pricing. There are the obvious line items you'll have to start at, which includes your labor, knowledge, gear rentals, but that's really only a part of what you should be thinking about when budgeting your day and your living expenses. Let's start with the physical labor of the job. You can consider this your hourly rate, or how much do you want to get paid per an hour for your skills and knowledge for the job. So far today, we got to film in a tiny little boat with a large anamorphic lens set, which was terrifying. Then I got to put this large anamorphic lens set in a fish tank in the lake wearing waders. That scared me too. Now it's just a nice walk over the Humber River Bridge, getting my my arm workout in. So fun. You should also consider that the job really starts a day or maybe even a few days prior while prepping gear. Prep time is something that is overlooked by most camera operators when they start out. I still forget from time to time, so create a checklist of all the gear you need for the project ahead, lay it all out, and A, make sure that's all there, and B, make sure that all the batteries are charged and equipment is working as it should. Then go ahead, pack it all up in a place that's convenient to quickly load your vehicle. And here's a quick tip: if you have any other special certifications that can be used to leverage your prices, you can also add that into your labor costs. I have my commercial drone license through Transport Canada, so if a job requires a drone, I'll be charging an additional fee for that as well. Because there's additional pre-production that goes into a project when a drone's involved, I have to file the flight plan with Navcan, and depending on where the flight is, I may need to do a phone interview with Navcan to give more information on the filed flight path for that project. Your next line item should be your gear rental, because yes, you should be charging for your gear. You're providing your client another great value add-on when they go with you by being able to provide most, if not all, of the equipment needed, and you're able to bring it to set. This then saves them time and money by not needing another runner to grab rentals and worry about pickups and drop-offs. It's just a mess. So check your local rental houses for the equipment that you own and see how much they're charging. I generally take a little off of what the rental houses are charging to save my client a little extra by going with me. Another value add-on for the client, because not only are they going with a DP that knows what they're doing, but I own all of the equipment needed and the price is better than the rental house. It's a win-win. Now, all of that knowledge is important to know, but let's get a little more into the nitty-gritty of not only the production costs, but also your living expenses that should be a big part of your thought process when deciding how much to charge. It's called making a living for a reason, right? So we've quickly run through the obvious production expenses, but let's go deeper and talk about everything else to help you make a living in filmmaking. So let's talk about the first one, housing. So are you renting a place or do you own? How much are your rental costs to keep a house over your head? Right now, I'm renting a home at $1,850 a month, and split with my partner's income, I need to come up with about $925 a month to cover the house. Next, you'll have to look at utilities, which means heat, electricity, internet, and depending on where you live, water. After averaging it out, I generally have to come up with about $1,250 a month. Next up, you've got food. You gotta keep your body sustained, so what's your minimum spend on food? Now, this is the food that you need to stock your fridge or to keep you sustained or living, I guess. This category is always hard to categorize for myself because it really fluctuates from month to month. On days that I'm working for a client, meals are generally covered and I don't actually have to worry about food. Gotta love craft services, but generally I budget around $400 a month for myself. Well, because inflation is fun. Now, this budget varies when you start to go out for meals, entertainment, all those other good things. Which leads us into our next one, entertainment and lifestyle. So this isn't something that you work into your budget so much as needing to budget yourself within your current annual income. But something to consider: your personal entertainment can include subscriptions like Netflix, Prime, Disney+, Zwift, Strava, or YouTube Premium. But it can also include going out for meals, rounds of golf, or bikes purchases. These are all the things that I pay for my enjoyment outside of the costs of running the business and things that I need to think about when booking work. Now, the next one is your travel or vehicle expenses, and this one's another sneaky one that you need to take into consideration when pricing a job, is how you're going to get there. Does it require flights and hotels, or just fuel and mileage that you need to work in as a line item into the cost of the job? What's the annual maintenance on your vehicle for oil changes, repairs, lease payments, all that fun stuff of owning a vehicle? Here's a quick tip. If you're anything like me and spend as much as I do on travel and on fuel, do yourself a favor and get yourself all of the rewards cards. Stack up those points and take yourself on a trip. You deserve it. Whew. All right, I think we're getting near the end of this list, so let's talk about subscriptions and insurance. These are the subscriptions that you need in order to operate your business. In my case, I've got an Adobe photography plan, QuickBooks account, Artlist.io account, Epidemic Sound account, mobile phone plan, and insurance. If you want to lock in those bigger jobs and clients, you're gonna have to get production insurance to not only show them you're a pro, but to give your client the peace of mind that if anything were to happen while on set, you're covered. Production insurance covers liability, equipment, loss of media, and a whole host of other things that might happen while on a shoot. It's not cheap, but again, something to work into your cost as a freelancer and can actually work to your benefit, explaining why they should not only choose you, but also why they're paying that premium for you. Quick tip here is that for most productions that I work on in that small to mid-range level, $5 million liability insurance is the bare minimum you should even look at. So when you're looking through insurance plans, make sure that you are getting enough liability insurance to work with that specific client. Usually that client will tell you what the bare minimum that they require is, and you can adjust your premium depending. So it's a fun one of those things you will continue to pay for and hopefully will never need. We are now at the end of this list, and this one is rainy days. The rainy day fund is almost the most important thing to budget for as a freelance filmmaker. This could be anything from a slow month of work to an injury or illness, and you want to have enough money in your account to keep you going for a couple of months in case you're out of work for some reason. This is super important to budget for, and the key to any successful freelancer, or of any freelancer of any industry really. I know from firsthand experience, I've had this happen a few times. I've broken my hand and my collarbone because I like mountain biking, and mountain biking turns out is kind of dangerous. So keep that in mind when you go into your freelancing career, and you'll feel a lot better when you don't have work for whatever reason.
Oh, she's broken.
Now, this obviously isn't the first video out there about how to save money or survive as a freelance filmmaker, and it certainly isn't an exhaustive list, but if you find those videos from other creators you respect and just take little bits of information from each, you'll start to find common ways we all make or save our money, and we have successful careers because of it. And admittedly, I need to get better at budgeting these into my day-to-day myself, but if you use this as a guideline, you'll be on your way to making a pretty good living as a freelancer, filmmaker, DP, editor, content creator, photographer. I don't know, the list goes on. Anyway, I hope this video helped you in some way. If it did, leave a comment down below. Like it if it helped you. I find that if we all start talking about how much we make and we can be open about these things, then overall as an industry of freelancers, we have more chance of getting paid our worth and value in this industry, where sometimes we get taken advantage of. But I think it's also important to note that sometimes if a job isn't right for you, it's okay to pass on it. and do it in a way that you're not going to burn a bridge. Don't get super angry if a client comes back and says, hey, that's way out of our price point. Can you bring it down? And you can either say, hey, here's a little wiggle room that we can work with. If there isn't any way of doing that, then just say, you know what, this job's not for me this time around. Hopefully we can work together in the future. It's just really important not to burn those bridges, because you never know what might come around the corner in the future. And that mentality has saved me in the past, where I wasn't able to work on a specific project with someone, but because I had always left the door open for them, whether they grew to a point where they could afford me, or where we were able to negotiate a price and I ended up working on a project that brought me more work down the road. It'll work out better for you if you are just open in that way. So like I said, hopefully that one helped you this week, and we'll see you hopefully next week. New year, we're gonna do this. We're gonna get more than 12 videos done. I think that's what I did this year. We'll see you in the next video. Like and subscribe. Peace. Also, let me know in the comments if there were other... No. If you have any personal stories about budgeting or projects that you might have had where they didn't work out first time around, and then that client came back and said, hey, we've got the budget this time, let me know down in the comments below. What are some other tips that you guys might have for getting clients, keeping clients, and budgeting your life to make it work as a freelancer? Sweet.